Do you think the Democratic Party will deliver something new in the next couple of years? I know that this loss for them is still very fresh, but
Mhm.
it's very clear that the American electorate is saying, you guys need to go back to the drawing board and give us a new message.
They've got to develop a really deep bench and some fresh faces. AOC is not the future of this party. The squad is not the future of this party. Socialism, as represented by Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, not the future. They need their version of a JD Vance. Young, great origin story, skilled debater, an intellectual who can still speak to regular people, and somebody who you feel is going to carry the mantle of what the party should be going forward for decades.
In 2016, when Hillary Clinton lost, there was this emergence of what was called the secret Trump voter because the polls showed she was winning. Clearly, she didn't. And there was this, what was called the secret Trump voter. They weren't going to publicly say, hey, I'm voting for Trump, but in the privacy of the ballot, of their ballot, they're going to vote for Trump. In 2024, do you think there was a secret Trump voter, or are people more open with that now?
I still think there's huge secret Trump voters out there. And I being in New York City this week, I have to tell you how many spaces I walked into where everybody just assumes everyone in that room thinks that the same way they do, and that everybody pulled the lever for blue. And if you look at where this election went, the way that New York City shed liberal voters, Democratic voters, I think they Trump gained like 11 points. Those ads in those remaining days that had the secret Kamala voter who was a woman who was afraid to tell her husband she was voting for Kamala. I mean, that was like some really like wild, like, what world are we in? We live in a country where we have known for decades, the data bears this out. Women run America, okay? Women run their households. Women decide on big purchases. They decide what schools their kids are going to, what cars they're going to buy, what neighborhoods they're going to live in. They decide everything. So you're undercutting the female vote already by saying, oh, you must be in a terrible marriage where you can't tell your husband what you really think. That's why I think the secret Trump voter is really the story of this election.
Were you offended by that ad? Because I know what you're talking about. It was essentially saying, hey, you don't need to tell, you can pretend to your husband you voted one way, but really you can secretly vote as a Democrat and not tell him. Because does that insinuate that there's other issues in a marriage? I mean, that ad, I think, missed the mark, it seemed.
Mm-hmm. It didn't offend me. Actually, I thought it was so stupid as to be laughable. And I thought only someone like Kamala Harris, who is married to a man who we now know and have known for weeks, except for the mainstream media not covering it, knocked up the nanny, paid her 80K to go away, slapped an ex-girlfriend in public, is married to a guy who doesn't seem all that great. Among the many losses Kamala should sustain this year is that guy. She should divorce him. But that to me felt very reflective of the candidate herself. I don't know about you, Brittany, but if I'm a Kamala Harris and I'm poised to be the first female president, whoever presents me with an ad like that, I am firing them.